Jeffrey's a negative guy. He makes fun of people on self-improvements. He feels like it's stupid to work on yourself and try to build muscle or grow a business. Jeffrey surrounds himself with like-minded friends and they all make fun of each other when they meet up to get drunk in the pub. Adonis only surrounds himself with positive people. He brings his brothers up and anyone who has a negative vibe is instantly banished from Adonis's tribe. I think like most people, my mind automatically generates more negative thoughts than I'd like. That's already hard enough to deal with, but it gets much harder if you've got people around you who also fuel those negative thoughts. And today you're going to learn how to banish those negative people. My name is Hamza, I'm your cult leader. If you want to join the cult, scroll down right now, click on the subscribe and the post notification button, and you'll see more videos like this on your YouTube homepage. You know, I've never really had positive people in my life up until recently. A lot of the guys in high school were more negative influences. And I can only really think of one true positive influence in high school, which was my friend Hayden. And I remember it seemed like everyone was so negative, that everyone was putting each other down, that it was normal to make fun of each other, but not in a loving way. It was in a truly like insecure, hostile manner. I remember when I started lifting weights at age 17 that people were making fun of me, bro. How stupid is that? People were literally making fun of me for like going to the gym. Like, how does that make any sense? But it's so common that around the world, if you speak to people online, it's so common that if you've got your original group of friends who are low value people, low quality people, and they do bullshit like fucking drinking in the pub and playing video games, and you start to get onto self-improvement, a very specific thing is when you start building muscle and you start posting pictures of yourself on Instagram and Snapchat, these insecure motherfuckers will try and bring you down because they're the bottom of the barrel crabs. I remember being like 18 and 19 and starting going to nightclubs, and people who knew me as a teenager would just be acting weird, bro. Like, they'd be acting so awkward. Like, I would, in the middle of a nightclub, I'd go and speak to a girl, and out the corner of my eye, I'd see these motherfuckers like in the corner of the club, like pointing and laughing at me for getting rejected by a girl. Like, that explains them perfectly. You know exactly the type of guys I'm talking about. Literally, they're stood at the corner of the club holding the drink up here because they're so insecure and anxious with themselves. And then when they see me go and speak to a girl and okay, I get rejected, instead of coming up like, oh bro, like, you know, well done for approaching her and everything, takes some confidence to do that, they're like, huh? So do you think I've had positive influences for most of my life? Probably not. And then in college, so in the UK we have college for Americans. It's like the last year of your high school, so I'm probably about 18 or something. I meet my first like truly positive friend, and his name was Ryan. Here's me and Ryan. And this guy truly showed me what a friend could be like. Because all so far, I had little gaming friends, little, you know, just guys from like high school and shit. I just had like normal friends. What I hear with my boys in self-improvement and stuff is you just kind of have like these people who you stuck around with because you were put in the same class. And this was the first time where I made a friend who he promoted me in everything. Like, he bigged me up. I would get like a new shirt and he'd be hype. He'd be like, bro, that shirt's so, like, yes, bro, let's go. That's sick. I get like a basic ass haircut, bro. And he'd be like, oh my God, bro, let me take a picture. You look sick, man. What a guy, man. And so being friends with this guy really increased my standards for friendship. I went from essentially having very low standards for friends in the sense that I was just keeping around the same people I had, to eventually, because of this guy, knowing that I only wanted to keep around people who were similar to him. And so I went through a transition where essentially my older friends, I was just no longer friends with, I was no longer close with, and I became friends with this guy and then a couple of his friends too. And so this is the protocol to plummet the negativity in your life. We have to increase the standards of the people that you keep around you, because right now you have very low standards. Right now, if you have this problem of having negative people around you, it's because you just think you deserve it. You have this low sense of self-worth where you're keeping these people around just because it's easier, and you don't want to get the uncomfortable conversation with just not replying to them because you're a pussy. And so we're going to learn how to actually respect yourself, increase your self-worth, and have some self-love. And recently my standards for people has skyrocketed, because obviously the channels blew up and the cults blew up. We have like 5,000 people in my Discord. At any given time, let's say more than 100 guys would like to speak to me, you know, to speak to me one-to-one on a call. Probably more closer to like 500, maybe even like 1,000. And so the moment I catch a little bit of negativity, just not in my life. And even if someone's not even been negative, if the only interaction I've had with someone is positive, even then, it's like my standards are too high because my time is just too scarce to be put into anyone who's not ultra a positive influence in me. So here is the long-term process that you're going to go through, and it is long-term. Don't be a little pussy and expect something like this to transition in a couple of months. I think I did this as well as anyone humanely could. I went from essentially like, bad friends to no friends to an audience of 50 something thousand and more than enough people in my inner circle. So I think I did this well. It took me 14 months to reach this point, and I've essentially done this like full time. So it's going to take you about as long and to probably get like a lower level, just because I got lucky with the algorithm and anything. And I was lucky and privileged that I could like commit full time to this. So here's the process. Right now, let's say you're at stage 1 or step 1 and you're surrounded with negative people. The next step, we're going to put you through a period of loneliness with monk mode, because you're going to cut these people out. You're just not going to have them in your life anymore. So this loneliness, this period of monk mode is what scares most people. And it's probably going to be like the best period of your entire life so far. The biggest growth comes from a period like this. And so during this time, you're just going to have the internet. And really, before we even get into this, think about what that means. You're just going to have the internet. You're just going to be watching videos like this. You are the average of the 5 people you spend time with. Imagine if you're not really spending time with many people in real life because you don't have that same group of friends. And so maybe I'm now one of the 5 people that you're spending the most time with because you're watching 30 minutes of my videos every day. So you are now automatically becoming more like me. That's powerful. So through this period of monk mode loneliness, you're going to start building yourself up, getting back out there. You're going to then be the initiator to create a new social circle, and you're only going to allow in people who are positive. It's like a 3-step process. So let's go through it. Write down a list of the negative people in your life. Don't like pussy about it or anything. Just write them down. No matter how they'd respond to you, already 5 people should come to your mind almost instantly. And those people who instantly came to your mind, who seem like the biggest negative influences, put a little star next to their names as well. So now you've got a list of the people who you consider are negative influences in your life. And a couple of these names have the star. The star pretty much represents someone who's 80% of the headache. If we use the 80-20 rule, these are like the 20% of people who give you 80% of the negativity. And you can tell instantly which few people this is. You need to cut out 100% of your contact with the people with the star. You will now not ever respond to them like at all. They simply just do not exist. Now, the rest of the people, what you're going to do is a soft next, in the sense that you're now just not going to send any messages. If they message you for something, you'll take it case by case to think, wait, oh, you know what? Sometimes this guy's kind of nice and we'll go with there or something. But generally, you're just now not going to be the person who reaches out. You're going to pretend like this person doesn't exactly exist up until they give you like a positive reason to acknowledge their existence. But the people with the star, you've already acknowledged that they are like truly bad for you. There is no more communication with them. Now, straight away, the most common question is, wait, the people with the star are bad people. They're horrible little but I do need to continue speaking to them because of X. And this is where like the process just gets f***ed up, because if you're not willing to make this sacrifice to change your social circle, you are going to keep the negativity in your life. And so this generally, again, it comes from you having no standards. It comes from you thinking, oh, but this person with the star is part of the same friendship group as this other person, and so it will get awkward. So awkwardness is somewhat of a negative experience, okay? But you're going through negativity anyway. And it's not going to get better unless you take action. And so this is literally the biggest negative belief that we do have to spend some time on. The person with the star or the people who are quite negative are in otherwise a positive social circle. And so you don't want things to get sort of awkward there. And I want you to reconsider that, because you're telling me that there is a negative person in a positive circle. And I think you're chatting shit. Because positive people don't keep around negative people. You think right now the whole friendship group in itself is positive. I probably would disagree with you, and you can even use that as your basis. Is just ask yourself, what would Hamza think of your friendship group? Would he literally, would I value them? Would I respect these guys? Would they get my respect? Probably not. Because people who are positive, people who are good people, don't keep around negative people. And another situation which is very similar is that potentially with the same person, when it's just you and this one guy, you have a very good time together. But it's kind of like the guy changes and gets really rude and disrespectful when you're in a group together. He gets like negative. Now, we don't expect people to be positive all the time. You can have like down moments if he's going through some shit. But if he takes it out on you, that is unacceptable. And if you continue to keep entering that negative circle, or to keep spending time with this person who takes something out on you, what does that say about you? It is better to be lonely than it is to be around negative people. Always keep that in mind. Because when you're lonely, when it's only you by yourself, it's just You then have full control over how positive and negative your life is. Right now, you're allowing a negative person to consistently create a negative influence on your life. And for what reason? And what is the return on investment for this? How much fun are you actually having with this guy? And I know you're going to think, oh, but we do laugh a lot. If you're watching this video and you've been watching every second, you clearly don't value those laughs that you have with this guy as much as you are annoyed at the negativity that you're going through. And you will find people to laugh with who are good for you. And it's weird because I've found you can't have like the overlapping safety net. You can't keep, let's say, your current negative friends, meet new people, and then ditch the old friends. Although it's possible. What seems to be the case is that you kind of have to ditch the current friends first and go through that period of loneliness first. And then you meet the new people, because it's the period of loneliness which causes the growth in you that enables you to be the type of guy who then is attractive to the happy, positive people. Because those happy, positive people don't want to be friends with you if your current social circle has got guys like this. And you can almost guarantee that this period of loneliness doesn't last, because if you're doing self-improvement properly, if you're not watching the big YouTubers and instead you're actually taking advice from me and you're improving every area of your self-improvement of your life, then loneliness cannot last if you go about self-improvement the same way that I do it. So you are guaranteed to enter the, let's say, the shadows, to enter the lone wolf period for a certain amount of time whilst you improve yourself. But even then, you're going to be social. You're going to be more social than ever if you follow my advice, which is, go speak to everyone possible. And so your period of loneliness is going to be just that, a period, up until you start meeting new positive people. So let's say you followed the advice, you acknowledge the people who are negative, and you pretty much just softly cut contact with them. Maybe you'll be polite if they message you, but generally you just are not really speaking to them. And now you're currently in the period where you just don't really have any friends or anything. Now is when you truly get onto your self-improvement. You get onto the grind, you improve your social skills, your mental health, all the areas that I recommend. It is very, very important at this point, and you will fail if you don't do this, that you specifically start leveling up your social skills. You start reading books, articles, lectures, podcasts, TED Talks onto it, and then you actively go out there and start speaking to more people. Like, you don't need the rest of this guide, honestly. You don't need any kind of social skills video or anything. Literally just go speak to more people. And if you hesitate on that, it's because right now it's too difficult for you, because one, you haven't done the education first, and two, you're trying to do like a difficult task of like going up to speak to like some hot girl instead of just going up and saying hi to an elderly man. And so just through this action, you will begin to meet far more positive people, because you don't have a history together. And so you will only keep around the people that you currently vibe with. Because imagine how, the bad friend, the negative friend, imagine how he treats you. Imagine if today you met a new person who treated you in the same way. You wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, let's be friends, bro. You just think, okay, this guy's a dick, and you'd walk away. Because you don't have a history with new people is why you will automatically, like, just so easily start generating and meeting new people that are positive influences, because you'll only escalate with someone who's a positive influence. So you've abandoned your old group of friends, you went through the period of loneliness, and you've started leveling up your social skills and going back out there to speak to more people. And automatically you're going to start meeting people who make you smile. And so those are the people that you just speak to more because you want to be around them, and you start organizing things. You be the initiator. You start saying to them, okay, I'm doing this thing on Friday, you should come with me. And if the guy vibes with you too, then he'll come with you. And then pretty soon you've got your entire social circle just updated and refreshed to your current position in life, rather than having a bunch of people who know you, let's say from high school, who don't value you and the progress that you've made so far. Now, the one final note that I want to discuss is, what if the negativity is from family? That requires a different protocol, because I have done this myself and I've coached a few guys through this. Distancing, what we're doing with these negative friends is distancing, right? We're creating some distance and we're just kind of like ignoring them up until there's like a really good reason for us to speak to them. Distancing doesn't work with your family, although it's the most common answer when a young man's going through some with his family. Everyone says, oh bro, you're 22 now, bro, you're 7 years old now, bro, you should move out. It's stupid advice. Distance does not change the negativity or the relationship you have with your family. Gratitude does. So the quick story that I had was that I did feel like my family were just total negative influences. I could only see the negativity that was coming from them. And when I was about 22 years old, I lived like I didn't have family. I blocked them from everything. I didn't speak to them for almost an entire year. I really think about that. Like, I'm a family person. I've been raised with my family for almost an entire year. I just didn't speak to them at all, like genuinely zero messages, zero calls, nothing. I moved out home. I blocked them from all social media, all apps, all numbers and everything blocked. Worst year of my life. And it didn't progress. Like the relationship you have with your family, even if they're negative, doesn't get better if you do this. The relationship started getting better once I learned about gratitude and I started doing extreme levels of gratitude practice. So I started dedicating, let's say, 20 minutes every single day to just thinking of things that I was grateful for with my family and writing it down. And then eventually I started like leveling this up, like progressive overload. And I started writing letters of gratitude. And so the first letter of gratitude I wrote was to my father. And it was the first time I had actually expressed some kind of positivity towards him. I wrote him the letter, gave it to him, we both cried. And our relationship has been improved significantly since that moment. You cannot improve negativity in your family through more negativity, and distancing is negativity. Now you have the right to distance yourself away from someone who's not family, like you absolutely should. But there is no like, family is always family, and it's always worth to fix the relationship you have with your family than to just take the easy route in the sense of just moving out. So the plan of action in terms of having a negative family is almost to ignore / overlook their negativity. Like act like as if it doesn't even do anything to you. And all you are thinking about, the only thing you're thinking about is how grateful you are for them. And right now, it's going to seem like an insult that I'm saying this to you. Right now, you're thinking, okay, this is stupid. Like, I was hoping you'd tell me something good about it. It's stupid. I'm telling you right now, if you currently have a negative relationship with your family, which you do if you're watching this, your brain isn't working, right? Like, you've tried a couple of things. Whatever you've tried, whatever your brain is telling you, it has not worked. So you do not have the experience to know what actually works to improve your family life. I do. Because I've done it myself and I put a few guys through it. So I'm telling you right now, whatever your brain is saying, whatever limiting belief you're getting, that you're thinking, wait, gratitude, what's he talking about? Like, I've got to move out. If I move out, then I'll get the freedom and I can go on Tinder and like, whatever your brain's saying, it's not going to work. It's gratitude that eases the negativity from family. And so specifically, you get like a new journal, and that's your little family gratitude journal. And you just start writing hundreds of things over the next few weeks of what you're grateful for, the things that they did for you and the things that, yeah. And when you start to express this gratitude to your family, your relationship with them truly changes. Because I want you to think of how different that is right now. Like, when was the last time you expressed gratitude? You wrote a love letter, like a gratitude letter to your mother, that you hugged your mother and said that you love her. You have to be the one who does it first. And this is the tricky part with family. You are expecting them, like you need them to acknowledge that they've done. You need them to acknowledge and say, you know what, son, we're sorry because we shouted at you and we slapped you and we abused you and we treated you like shit. They can't do it because there's like a psychological barrier for someone like a parent really, really being able to understand the harm that they caused their children. And so they can't even grasp it. They're not even aware of how much they damaged you. And so you have to take that first uncomfortable step to almost forgive and forget, and to start with gratitude. Because generally not even generally, with every single person that I've had this kind of conversation with, they've always went about it the same way, which was that they went up to their family to say, oh, you know, but this is what you did and it was really, really painful and this is how it made me feel. And the response from the family is always the same. And I can guarantee you had the same response from your parents when you told them, oh, you beat me, you shouted at me. And they're like, no, like we barely did it. No, come on, it's not that big of a deal. We barely did anything. Because in their mind, that's actually true. They're not downplaying it out of like disrespect or a lack of love to you. In their mind, that's genuinely what they believe and they remember. They've went through more pain than you. Like, you're the one who got slapped or shouted at, but they're the parents who abuse their children. Like that's a bigger pain for someone when you really think about it, that they've got like a bigger reason to get rid of those memories. And so every time you go up and you try and bring this up to them and you say, you know, you did this, like this parenting style wasn't good, you should have done this. And you're hoping for maybe an apology, not exactly an apology, but just kind of an acknowledgement of the that you went through. They can't acknowledge it. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit upsetting, but you then, because now you have this knowledge, you just have to know you're not going to get that apology. You're not going to get that acknowledgement. But if you want that relationship with your family, which you absolutely should do, you have to start with gratitude and you have to just try your best to forgive them. And forgiving them, one final note is that forgiving them is not for them. It's for you. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.